Well, hello again. Winter has finally arrived. I've actually got a grey sky today and a little bit of rain. What is it? It's the 9th of June 2024 and the equivalent of the 9th of November in the UK. It's still going to be 20 degrees centigrade today. It's a little bit chillier now because it's only 8:30 in the morning and it's overcast. We're not getting any sunlight this morning. Now, what's been going on in the world of piffle peddling this week? Well, let's have a look. Ross Coulthart was presenting at the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. This is another new one. I haven't heard of this one. As well as, the Sol Foundation, this other thing, Gary Nolan and Lou Elizondo want to start, the two Paradigm Institutes and goodness knows what else. We've got this, ISA, of course, the International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research. Now we have the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. And Ross Coulthart was telling these rather tall tales about being told by somebody on their deathbed that yes, there is a reverse engineering program. Apparently this guy was a friend of David Grush's. Put a line through it. But I mean, Ross Coulthart actually tells us we can put a line through what he's saying, because he tells us all this. I'll tell you what he said. And then he said it's all hearsay. Of course it's all hearsay, because there's not a scrap of tangible evidence to prove any of it's true. But interestingly, part of what he said was that they'd recovered these materials, and they were synthetic materials that were bonded together at an atomic level, and we couldn't make them. Now, this is the second thing that I've been saying for years that I've heard someone else say for the first time very recently. I've been saying for years, these people are out with metal detectors and they're picking up bits of metal. They're telling you they've recovered metal samples from alien spacecraft. And the technology to get here from another star system would be unimaginably advanced. Alien spacecraft are not going to be made of metal. They're going to be made of all sorts of super exotic, low mass materials that we can't even imagine. I've been saying that for years. I've only ever heard it once from anyone else, and that was from Ross Coulthart this week. And the other thing that I've been saying for years, that I've only heard someone else say recently, was Stephen Bassett. I've been saying for years, free energy isn't real. If it was real, you'd still it wouldn't be free, because you'd have to buy a device to convert the free energy that's all around us into power we could use, 240 volt mains or whatever. Stephen Bassett said exactly that. He said free energy wouldn't be free, you'd have to buy a device to convert it. So I'm beginning to wonder whether, if these guys watch my channel, or at least watch a couple of my videos, and maybe even subscribers, because although I've only got a handful of subscribers, I see I got another one this morning, so thank you to whoever that was. I've got so few subscribers, I noticed the count going up and down by one. So much appreciated, whoever that was, thank you very much for subscribing. But although I only have a handful of subscribers, an awful lot of them are anonymous. So you can select that you don't show who you are when you subscribe to a channel. And although I've got a handful of subscribers, a lot of them are anonymous. Now that makes me wonder, are these people, these piffle peddlers, some of my subscribers? Another thing that makes me think Ross Coulthart might be a subscriber, and thank you, Mr. Coulthart, if you are, is that he said if this is all piffle and poppycock, then why X, Y, Z? And I thought, well, this is the language I use. I say it's piffle and poppycock. In fact, I think I used the word poppycock fairly shortly before I saw him say that. And I thought that is not language generally used in Australia, piffle and poppycock. It's just not. So I thought, this fella watches my channel. Anyway, Mr. Coulthart, he's going. So he said they've got these recovered composite materials. First time I've heard anybody say that, other than myself, who's been saying it for years. He's spoken to somebody on their deathbed that told him this recovery program was going on. Turns out this fella's he's another one of these people that was probably in a high-ranking position in the military, but just like, Nell and Gaudet, it doesn't mean he's not gullible. It doesn't mean he's not a fanboy. Now, a guy called Nat Kobitz, that's right, Nat Kobitz. So Ross Coulthart is standing in front of the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. He does a 2-hour presentation. He tells them all this is going on. Recovered alien spacecraft are being reverse engineered. This guy, Nat Kobitz, told him that on his deathbed and all that. And then he says, well, of course it's all hearsay. There's no evidence. There's no tangible evidence to prove any of this. But this is what I've been told. How many times do we have to hear that? This is what I've been told from all these different people. Oh, well, someone told me that. Zero tangible evidence. And he said these awful, terrible weapons have been engineered from recovered, reverse engineering alien technology. These terrible weapons. How do we know that's not true? Anybody? Because they wouldn't be secret. If anyone had engineered any kind of weapons from ET technology, they would not be secret. They would be the best deterrent on the face of the earth. No one is ever going to mess with anybody that's got weapons engineered from alien technology. So put a line through that. It's complete and utter nonsense. There's no evidence to back it up. As Ross Coulthart said himself, it's hearsay. It's all rubbish. They have to hold all this recovered ET craft visiting ETs. They have to hold it up with all these stories, to keep the industry going, ticking over. Because more and more people are saying, this is all rubbish, And David Grush apparently has made a statement about his whistleblowers. They don't trust Arrow. Now, didn't I say to you, didn't I make a bold prediction that none of these people will come forward and talk to Arrow? Because it's all complete and utter rubbish. They don't want to go and tell their science fiction stories to anybody that can check them out, because they'll be found out very quickly to be talking rubbish. To be science fiction piffle peddlers. And as I said in the previous video, it's now becoming pathetic. It'll be pathetic. Piffle peddling fantasists. That would be revealed within days of them telling their stories to Arrow, and Arrow being in a position to check those stories out will go, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is complete and utter nonsense, So now there has to be an excuse why these 40 whistleblowers are not coming forward. How many videos have I mentioned that they won't be coming forward? Because as soon as they do, they'll be found out to be bullshitters. How many times have I said that in how many different videos? It's obvious what's going on, isn't it? Grush wants everybody to know this is all real. He's not going to go to Arrow. He's not going to tell Arrow his story. Because he doesn't trust them. People feel fear for their lives if David Grush came forward for his own protection. In his own words, that's what he said. When the interviewer said, why aren't these witnesses coming forward? And he said, oh, well, they fear for their personal safety. She said, why have you come forward? And he said, oh, for my own personal protection. This whole thing is rubbish. It's ridiculous. And it gets more and more pathetic and ridiculous every time one of these piffle peddlers makes a statement. Oh no, we can't. I know all about it. Well, I can't tell you. I don't trust you. Complete and utter nonsense. And I see recently there's nothing new either, is there? The newest stuff is the Nimitz stuff, which has all been thoroughly debunked. But someone was digging up the old Calvine incident. The old with the diamond-shaped craft with the Harrier in the background. And trying to make a mystery out of that. Oh, the guys, that took that picture, they disappeared and all this sort of thing. Well, how old's the picture? I think it's pretty obvious that whatever that thing was, it wasn't an alien spacecraft. What gives it away was if you look at the picture, at the rear of the diamond shape, you've got aerodynamic stabilising fins. Vertical, horizontal, aerodynamic stabilising fins. Alien spacecraft using exotic propulsion isn't going to need anything like that. It could be the shape of a brick. and it would go, and they'd be able to position it anywhere they wanted to. So whatever, it's not an alien spacecraft. It could have been, because it was diamond shaped. It could have been some low radar observability experiments. It could have been something like that, because there was a lot of stealthy research into stealth at the time, and at the time they were doing it with funny shapes, reflecting the radar off at different angles, you know, to reduce the size of the reflection. Low observability shapes that would give low radar observability. It could have been too, because it was a reasonable size, they were mucking around with things called LEMVs. Now I think they still do a little bit of research into these things, which is a long endurance multi-intelligence vehicle, an LEMV. So it's got all kinds of electronic sensors on it. Electronic intelligence gathering platform in a lighter than air vehicle. So basically it's a blimp, you know, but it's full of electronic intelligence gathering equipment. And it could have been that they were testing that. And the Harrier might have been testing its radar observability, and it might have been pinging its radar at it to see how good it could detect the Harrier's radar and how well it could electronically position the Harrier as it flew around it. What it wasn't was an alien spacecraft. Pretty obvious, just by looking at the design of it, that it's not an alien spacecraft. As I said, you know, alien spacecraft's not going to need aerodynamic, vertical, horizontal stabilizers at the rear end. It's nonsense. What else have we got? Someone was saying that Trump would never admit to any of this recovered ET stuff, reverse engineering ET technology program, because he fears for his life. Yeah, that's why Trump said he doesn't believe in aliens. There was a television interview when Trump was asked about it. You know, he said, "Well, people have told." Apparently, you know, our good service people have said that, you know, they've seen these things. He said, personally, I don't believe in aliens. That was what Trump said. So now there's got to be a reason why Trump would say that. And the reason the piffle peddlers, the pathetic science fiction piffle peddlers have come up with, is that he fears for his life. So he can never admit it. He can only ever say, well, I don't believe in it, you know. I don't believe it. I don't believe in aliens. It's because he's scared. Trump is scared. Fears for his life. Personally, I don't believe that. What else have we got here? It's not going to be a very long one this morning. So perhaps someone could ask Rush why. I did say that now that Sean Kirkpatrick's gone, you know, they're still not going to talk to Arrow, because they'll be found out to be piffle peddlers very quickly, bullshitters for our American friends. And now Sean Kirkpatrick's gone, Grush has made a statement they're not going to talk to Arrow because they don't trust them. Just as I predicted. I said that's exactly what I said would happen. And it will be exactly for the reason I said at the time, and the reason that I'm repeating here today. They know they'll be found out very quickly to be bullshitters, to be pathetic, piffle-peddling fantasists, as soon as they tell their story to anybody that's in a position to check it out. I saw a video with I didn't watch it, but there was a video with a banner, you know, the thumbnail, and it was Zabel and Coulthart. No doubt. I thought, I'm not going to watch this. It's going to be rubbish, isn't it? You know, no doubt it's all complete and utter rubbish. No doubt there is not a scrap of tangible evidence to support any of it. That's where there's no doubt. You know, all these people are running around pushing all this stuff out there, trying to keep this afloat, trying to keep this ET rubbish alive. Why don't they just admit it's all complete and utter rubbish? So that was Zabel and Coulthart. You know, Coulthart said it's all hearsay. There isn't a scrap of tangible evidence, technological or biological, ET materials to prove any of this is real. It's all science fiction stories. They're all wriggling now like a fish on a hook. Oh God, no, don't reel us in, don't reel us in, don't reel us in. We can't talk to them, no, it's all secret. No, they're not cleared. Arrow's cleared to hear anything, of course. Arrow's cleared to see anything. Now Kirkpatrick's gone, they have to find another excuse not to talk to Arrow. Because as soon as they do, they're going to be found out to be complete and utter fantasists. And, I don't know, last but not least, the contact in the desert is over for another year. I think I mentioned that in the last video. You know, I looked at the speakers and said you couldn't pay me to go and listen to this bloody lot, you know. Well, from what I've seen of the of the presentations and the people that attended them, I would say that it was streamed live from the Royston Vasey Social Club. The Royston Vasey Social Club. Just looking at the presenters and the people that attended. And again, you know, for our American friends who might not know what Royston Vasey is, just Google it and you'll see what I mean fairly quickly. Put Royston Vasey in the search bar and then go to images and you'll see exactly what I mean. So, you know, the contact in the desert people have done Fleecing the Gullible for another year, and probably a lot of the same people will move on to the next one and line their pockets with more science fiction stories. Yeah, not a scrap of tangible evidence to support ET coming here. Not a scrap of technological material, not a scrap of biological material. And people are now starting to say what I've been saying for years. You won't find any metal in an alien spacecraft. Free energy won't be free because you'll have to buy a device to convert it into energy you can use. You can forget that. You can forget that one because free energy doesn't exist. Alien spacecraft may exist. They're not going to be made of metal. I very much doubt they'll be coming here. We're just too far from anywhere. Too far from anywhere. I mean, there might be some of this stuff going on right closer towards the centre of the galaxy where the stars are a light week apart, maybe. But when you consider that it's something like 40 light minutes to the edge of the solar system, you're still talking a really... and it's probably only a light hour to where Voyager is at the moment. It was launched in 1977, to give you an idea of the sort of distances we're talking about. And if Voyager at its constant velocity was going to go and check out this planet 40 light years away, where they think there may be a biosignature, it would take it 780,000 years to get there at its present velocity. It takes 78,000 years to get to the closest star, Proxima Centauri. The sort of distances we're talking about. So aliens are not coming here until proved with tangible evidence. It's all science fiction rubbish. Oh, just a quick word about the hat. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Aussie Invader on it. Now, the Aussie Invader is a world land speed record car being built in Australia at the moment. A guy called Roscoe McGlashan is building it, and he wants to drive it, although he's knocking on a bit now, Roscoe. But he had he took the land speed record from Donald Campbell, I think, years ago, so he's got a bit of previous for running fast cars, you know, jet-powered dragsters and all this. This is a rocket-propelled car. He needs about another $3 million to do the testing, but I was watching a doco about it last night, and I've actually seen, I don't know if I saw the car or whether I saw the engine or the propulsion system at one of these shows I went to. And I thought, well, it certainly looks the part, and what he was saying, and he had his engineers there and they were talking about it, and I thought, well, it all sounds pretty good actually. I don't think I want to sit in it. He wants to do 1,000 miles an hour. Not only break the sound barrier, but he wants to do 1,000 miles an hour and get the world land speed record in this car. So if you're watching, Mr. McGlashan, I wish you all the best, and I hope you achieve that. Now, when I was looking at it, they had these hats, the Aussie Invader hats. It's called the Aussie Invader, and the Aussie Invader hats were $10, and the Aussie Invader hats with Roscoe McGlashan's signed personally by Roscoe McGlashan were an extra $5. So I thought, well, I'll pay $15 and get, you know, one of the Aussie Invader hats signed by Roscoe, because I thought, well, you know, as soon as he lights that thing up, it's going to be bye-bye Roscoe, you know, and good night Roscoe. But so it might actually be worth something, you know. But seriously, I do wish them all the best. I don't know when they're going to run it. I know they're looking for money. So if you fancy putting some money in the pot to see the car run, it's the Aussie Invader. It's being built in Perth, and it really looks pretty damn good. All right, well, that's just as an aside. So it's actually raining. You know, we had no rain for 6 months. I know we've had some pretty heavy rain over the last day or so, and yeah, it's the cloud here is so low I can't see the town. I normally look down on the town, but I can't even see it. So it's going to be the rain's going to be getting heavier as it gets closer. As always, if you've struggled through the video right up to this point, many thanks for watching, and maybe I'll catch you again.